Hello everybody, I hope that everyone's doing well. Welcome to this video, welcome to this chit chat answering your questions video. I did a question poll thingy on Instagram the other day and asked if there was any questions anyone had on their mind, and I got some really good questions, so I'm here to answer them. Someone asked for tips for self-confidence. I keep struggling with feeling insecure and overthinking. I feel like I'm also such an overthinker, and I feel like we all have insecurities, like inherently, just like as part of being human. I feel like we all have insecurities. The main thing that helps me with confidence, honestly, like that's helped me vlog in public, that's helped me like do things by myself in public and just like get through this barrier of like thinking that people are going to think about me in some way, is just like to remember that no one actually cares. Like it sounds kind of harsh, but like literally no one really cares that deeply about what you're doing. When I had this thought, I think it was like last year, and I was like, Cameron, no one actually cares. And that was such a freeing thought for me. For example, I would be anxious to like go out for coffee by myself or like go out to eat by myself, and it's like I would be thinking about what someone else's perception of me would be, when in reality like people don't actually care, and like no one is perceiving you that deeply. It's like all within yourself. So I feel like that is a huge tip with confidence that helped me, just like no one cares. Even with like confidence online, like speaking to the camera and like posting videos and like putting yourself out there online, it's like I also feel like no one actually cares. Like if you want to do something, just do it, because don't let the fear of like how someone else is going to perceive you stop you from doing something, because again, no one cares. I feel like it's the fear of maybe being judged or the fear of being viewed a certain way, but in reality, like people are going to judge you no matter what, and it's like that's none of your business. Like someone else's perception of you and someone else's judgment of you isn't a reflection of you, so it shouldn't stop you from doing what you want to do, if that makes sense. I think affirmations can be a really nice tool as well, just to like remind yourself that like you've got this, you are that bitch, you can do this. If you feel like your self-belief or your self-confidence is wavering, it definitely happens to me often. I'll go through phases where I just feel like, I don't know, like maybe I can't do what I want to do, or maybe I feel like I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy enough, and I just have to like remind myself that you got this. How did you start YouTube? Any tips on getting started in 2023? I think I started in like May of 2021, and so I've been doing it for like almost 2 years. I think it's almost 2 years. I feel like from my experience on YouTube and like growing slowly, and like keeping my own self-belief and like trusting in myself, is that I feel like you have to be on YouTube for the love of like creating videos rather than in order to get a certain outcome from it. Because like despite growing slowly on YouTube, I just love the process of editing and filming and like storytelling and just documenting my life, and that's what keeps me going. Also, tying back to my last question, I think that self-confidence and self-belief is also really important when starting a channel. I feel like when I first started my YouTube channel, I was bad at talking to the camera and like being myself in front of the camera. It just felt like really jarring for some reason. I feel like I unintentionally sort of like but just like I wasn't being my true self. When I would speak to the camera, I was overthinking what I was saying, like as I was saying it, because I was trying to like, I was worried that if I would say something, if someone would take it the wrong way, or like I was trying to like accommodate for everyone. And it's like you can't accommodate for everyone when you're on the internet, because it's like you just can't do that. And I feel like that was creating like a blockage in my head as I was talking. I was like, it was this like huge mix up of just like and then it would just all come out wrong. I think I was definitely worried about people's perception of me, and I think that stopped me from being my authentic self. But I think that over time I've gotten better at it, and I definitely feel more confident now in front of the camera. But in saying that, I only got here through trying. So you can't wait for things to be perfect and wait for like everything to be right to start a channel. I think that you just kind of have to go for it and then learn as you go. It's like trial and error, and it's like one big experiment. Like you slowly get better, you slowly develop your own style. And I think that it's definitely helpful to look to other YouTubers for inspiration, but also ask yourself like what's unique about you and what's unique about your style or like yourself that you can bring to make something slightly different. I feel like you don't want to be a copy and paste of something that's already been done before. If you're being yourself on your channel, I think that inherently you're not going to be a copy and paste, because you're being you and there's only one you. But yeah, being authentic and like being true to you, again, I feel like it only comes through trial and error and through like trying. I would say just start. Don't wait for things to be perfect. You can use your phone to start videoing. Like I'm using my phone as a microphone right now. Like there's always different ways that you can sort of make it work without having heaps of equipment. I think when I first started, I had a tripod. I bought a Canon G7X from Facebook Marketplace for like $200, and I edited on Premiere Pro. I didn't really know how to use Premiere Pro before I started my channel. I just sort of learned as I went. But like whenever I wanted to do something, I would just Google it, and there's like a video for everything. There's like these 1-minute videos that explain how to do stuff on Premiere Pro. If you're like, how to fade out this sound, it's like you Google it and then you just learn. And it's like you're slowly just adding all these other like editing tools and tricks to your toolkit. And then over time, through trial and error, you get better. But if it's something that you want to do, definitely start a channel, because like, why not? And if you're worried about being perceived a certain way, if you're worried about struggling with self-confidence, just remember that no one cares. And if they do care, it's none of your business. Someone asked if I have any travel plans and what my next international trip is. I am going to America in May. I'm going to LA and to New York for 3 weeks. The reason I want to go is because I feel like I'm trying to find somewhere that has like-minded people. I'm trying to foster like a sense of like community and closeness with like relationships in my life. I feel like I struggle at the moment to find aligned friendships with like-minded people. I've definitely done more so this year, but I'm just like, I want to like experiment and like see more places and see what different places have to offer. So I'm really excited about that trip. I think it's going to be good. I'm going by myself, I'm going solo. I've got 3 weeks. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to hire a car, which is stressing me out, honestly. Thinking about driving on the other side of the road on like fucking huge highways stresses me out. It's been a peak source of my stress at the moment, but feel the fear and do it anyway, I say. I'm going to do it, even though it's stressing me out. I'm literally going to be on the flight to LA being like, fuck. I have to get in a car in like 5 hours, and I'm just going to be like stressing out the whole flight. It's actually going to be chaos, but I think I can do it. I'm going to vlog everything, of course, as well. So be prepared to see me freaking out in a car in LA in 2 months. Let's do it. What is your favorite food? I love this question. I love just like a really basic, I love questions like what's your favorite chocolate bar? Like this, I feel like you can tell so much about someone from like their favorite packet of crisps, or like their favorite chocolate bar, or like their favorite pack of biscuits. I don't know. I feel like you can just tell so much about someone from that sort of stuff. But anyway, my favorite food. I don't know if I have like a specific favorite food. It's such a hard question. Like, are we saying like if I have to eat one thing for the rest of my life? Like, that's hard. Like, I think I need to choose like a cuisine so I at least have like some variety, or like a general thing. Like, I do love a curry, but I don't think I could eat a curry every day. Like, it's a bit heavy. If it was like a curry with a salad on the side, then maybe we're talking. Oh, actually, I've got it. My favorite food, if I had to eat, like choose one meal to eat right now, and like that I'd always feel like, it's a plate. It's got rice and peas on it. It's got jerk chicken. It's got fried plantain. It's got like a little bit of slaw. It's got like a salad with tomato, mango, onion, maybe some cucumber. And it's got like jerk sauce and hot sauce over the top. That's it. That's what I want to eat. That's my favorite food. How do you maintain a good work-life balance? Routine. I swear to God, like routine is like my everything. Like, I need routine in my life. Without routine, I feel like life is just like white noise and chaos and just like all of these like moving parts, and I'm just like, ah! But like routine makes things like compartmentalizes things for me, and it makes it easier to like do things and function as a human being in this world. Also, just having like non-negotiable moments of like calm and stillness and quiet and peace, and just like prioritizing things that are good for my mental health, like spending time alone, being with friends, spending time on my hobbies, and putting them on like a similar, if not the same level as work, and like these like serious like to do things that we have to do in life. And also realizing that just like life is a pendulum and everything swings and ebbs and flows, and I just feel like it's impossible to have a balance of literally everything all at once. It's like some days, some weeks, some months are going to be more heavily focused on like one aspect of life, and sometimes it's going to be more heavily focused on another. Like sometimes you might need to like put in a bit more work and like be in more of a grind and hustle. Maybe other times it's more focused on like being present and spending time with friends and focusing on your like connections, and like I don't know, I feel like everything is just like, it's not always so like binary. And what are your 3 favorite ways to recenter yourself? This is such a good question. I love this question so much. I feel like I'm always trying to recenter myself. I feel like I'll have like a week where I'm like ecstatic and so happy and just like life is amazing, and then I'll feel like really anxious all of a sudden, and then I'm like, shit, how did I get here? Like, I was just so happy. How are we going to like ground ourselves? And like, how do we get back to that place that I was just at a week ago? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that happens so often. I like have these really like elated, like positive feelings. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my God, I'm not grounded. Like, what is going on? And then I'm like, how do I get back to ground? And it happens so quickly. Like, all of a sudden I'll just be like, fuck, I'm stressed. But I feel like I have a lot of strategies that I've built and like routines that I've built that help me, and that I know how to ground myself and how to recenter myself and how to get back to that place, which makes it less anxiety inducing and less stressful when I do find myself feeling shit. My 3 favorite ways would be journaling for one, just like writing how I feel, putting my mind down onto paper and literally just like scribbling, like just going. Like, my journal is not a place for aesthetics. My journal is a place to get my thoughts onto paper. I feel like it just really helps me put things into perspective, and even just like reading back on past entries, it helps me realize how like frivolous things are. I don't know, like sometimes I just think that things seem so like weighty and so like serious in the moment, but when you look back, like in retrospect, it's like, oh, come on, like really? You're stressed about that? Like, when I read back on my entries, I'm like, shit, yeah, true. This emotion I'm feeling right now is not permanent, and it's like, it's going to be gone in a week's time. And it's like, I just have to like not give it so much significance and let it like pass through me, which is easier said than done as well. But yeah, definitely journaling. And then also just getting into nature, being outside. If there's sun, even better. Get outside, walk around, lay down, have a seat. Paying attention to like all the little things really, really helps me just like get out of my head, as in get out of these like anxious thoughts and get out of this like, we just get so stuck in our own head sometimes, and I think that we need to get out. And just being like an observer of my environment, I can just stand there sometimes and look at a tree, look at the bark, and I just start thinking like, wow, there's all these little organisms in this bark, and they're all like living in their little world, and they're so absorbed in their little world, and to them, like the bark is their whole world, and then they're just in there doing all the little organism things, and I'm here, a human, standing at this tree, looking at this bark, and I'm just a little human doing my little human things, worrying about my little human life, and it just like takes me out, and I'm just like, Cameron, it's not that deep. And literally just feel like life is one big Russian doll, like always something else within something else within something else, and it just never stops. It's too much, but also like a very like puts things into perspective. I feel like everything's about perspective. Like, when you can have perspective on a situation, it changes your state of mind so much. So that's 2. A third one would probably be listening to music. You could incorporate all these together. Go outside, get into nature, listen to music, and journal. Triple whammy. That is my peak joy. Like, if I'm feeling stressed and anxious, I like immediately go into flight mode. Like, I want to like get away, and my like immediate place I want to get away to is like a sunny grassy hill, lying on my rug with a journal, like with my headphones on. There's no better place to me. Like, that is happiness, that is peace, that is joy. Yeah, just listening to music, being silly, just like dancing, moving my body, and just being like silly and playful, and like embracing my inner child, I guess. Just trying not to take things so seriously. I think that we can get so caught up in life thinking that like everything in our little world is so serious and so important, but like, I don't want to like invalidate anyone's emotions or anyone's feelings, nor do I want to do that to myself. But like, sometimes I just say to myself, like, Cameron, is it really that serious? It's not. Like, let's let it go. So yeah, there's 3 things: journaling, being outside, listening to music / moving your body, having a dance, shaking your ass. How do you make intentional friendships and find people with the same interests as you? I don't know. I'm still trying to get there, to be honest. This is hard. It's very hard. I'd say like, obviously the first thing to do is like know yourself and know what you want. And then you can like, in order to find people that are aligned with you, I feel like you have to know what they're aligning with. Like, I feel like that was very much me last year. I was like very much getting to know myself more. I mean, it's a constant journey. We're always learning more about ourselves. But yeah, I feel like I've learned so much more about myself in 2022. And now I feel like I have so much like to give. Like, I have so much love in me, like for friendships, for like romantic relationships. Just like feel like I have like, my cup is full, and I feel like I'm ready to like step into all these different relationships. But then I feel like it's hard. I'm struggling to find them. And so I get why this is such a hard thing. I understand this being a hard thing to do, like finding friendships that align with you. I would say position yourself in spaces where you think these people might be. That's my whole thing with going overseas. It's like I'm trying to position myself in spaces where I might find people that I align with. What is it that you're looking for, and where will these people be? Like, what are your interests that you're trying to find people to align with? And then like try and think, I guess, like where those people would be. I don't know. But yeah, I get that it's hard and I don't have the complete answer, to be honest, but I hope that you get there, and I hope I get there too. I hope we all get there. I find comfort in the thought that there's so many people out there that share these common interests with you and that align with you. It's like we're just on this journey trying to find them, and we're going to find them one day. Tips for staying focused to get tasks done in one day. Having a plan is so important to me. I know that I feel like this is, again, they're all nuanced questions. Everything in life has nuance. But I feel like this is a specifically nuanced question because people's brains operate in different ways. And it's like there's so much that goes into how someone focuses, and like different things work for different people. But for me, having a plan is so important. Like if I don't know what I'm doing, how the hell am I going to do it? I like to plan my days the day before, like the night before. I will journal in bed and just like journal to myself about what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'll be like, oh, like what are we going to... I literally say like I'm like, what are we going to do tomorrow? I'm like, oh, maybe we could do this in the morning. And like, just like as if I was conversing with a friend about what I'm going to do. I will literally do that with myself. And that helps me to get excited for the day. So I'll like have like this rough like conversation with myself literally. And then I will turn that into like a plan or like a to-do list. And I feel like that helps me wake up the next day feeling like clear-headed and feeling like entering the day with like intention and knowing what I'm doing. I also, if you have like tasks that you need to do, I would say do the hardest thing or like the thing you're least looking forward to doing first, so that you're not putting it off. This is a note to self because I always do this. I'm like, I'll just do that later. I'll just do it later. And then later comes and I'm like, I don't want to do that because it's later. I should have done that at the start of the day when I had more like pizzazz. I think there's like a word for this thing. Like it's like it's a thing. I forget, I don't know what the word is. Anyway, and I would say also if you have like a day of like to-dos and like tasks and things that you need to get done, make sure that you punctuate your day with like moments for yourself, for your mind, body and spirit, just to like make sure that you feel grounded. And for me, like I need to schedule these things in, otherwise I will get swept up in my to-dos and my life things. I need to schedule in time for myself. Like I will add into my to-do list, like sit down outside and read a book or have lunch, like just these things that I feel like for me, I need to schedule them in. Otherwise I can get so caught up in what I'm doing that I'll forget to do these other things. Also, working out also really helps me stay focused. If I work out in the morning before I start to do whatever things I have to do for that day, I definitely feel like a change in my focus and my clarity throughout the day. I feel so much more focused when I work out in the morning. And also having like a space, like a dedicated space for working, a desk, having it clean, having a clear space helps just like you get into the zone, I feel. Well, helps me anyway. And also not cramming too much into one day, because this for me, I always do this, always. I'm always like, yeah, I can do this. I'm getting better at it now, but I'm always like, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to get it all done. Plan my times, and then everything takes longer than you think it's going to take, and then I get overwhelmed and it makes me stressed, and then I'm just like, and then it stops me from being productive and stops me from getting things done. So I've been learning to just like not cram so much in the day. And it's like if you plan less into the day and then you end up having free time, great, then you can do something else, but don't like over plan your day and like cram too much stuff in. I feel like that's some pretty good tips on staying focused in a day. And then the last question I have is, what advice would you give to your younger self? I feel like this is such a nice, wholesome question. What advice would I give to my younger self? Maybe like don't take life and things and your to-dos and all your little tasks so seriously. Don't take things so seriously, Cameron. Be more light and playful. I'm getting better at it now, but I feel like younger me would get very hung up on things and like very like highly strung sometimes, and I would say just like relax, don't take things so seriously. I'd say it's okay to not feel understood. Like that's just like a part of being human. I feel like we never feel completely understood. It's like no one is ever gonna fully understand your inner world, and that's okay, as long as you understand it. Yes. I would also say it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel things, it's okay to feel deeply, it's okay to be sensitive. All of your emotions are valid. I would also say don't be afraid to reach out. Don't feel like you have to deal with everything in isolation and deal with everything by yourself. I would say don't feel like you're a burden to other people. I would say remember that connection is such an important part of being human. Don't isolate yourself. Don't isolate yourself as a result of feeling misunderstood or feeling too much or feeling too sensitive. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, that is the end of this video. That is the end of my questions. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, if you want more videos like this, more question videos, ask me more questions in the comments. Let's get it going. But yeah, goodbye guys. I'll see you in the next video.